Well, we're trying to get as many competitive football players to help this roster moving forward and help and contribute for the 19th season. You can't have enough good football players. At the end of the day, I'd like all 8 of them to be starters, but reality says that's not going to happen. You just want to try to get as many good competitive football players as you can.
Look at history and what it would take to move up from, let's say, 49 to whatever, 29 or whatever number that would be, and you look at what it's taken in the past, are you willing to give up what the other teams have done for that?
If there are certain players there that I deem that the value fits the player, yes.
John Dorsey talking about the NFL draft less than a week away. It will get underway round 1 Thursday from Nashville. Let's welcome in cleveland.com columnist Doug Lesmerises. Doug, gut feeling. Do you think they're going to trade up? You heard John Dorsey. You were there. You were asking him questions. They're going to trade up into round 1, do you think?
Actually, to be fair, I was not there because I didn't think he was going to say anything, and he really didn't. No, I don't think they're going to move up. I mean, John Dorsey moved up in Kansas City to get Patrick Mahomes. That kind of move is not there, and I don't think mortgaging the future makes sense here. I think the only possible move up that makes sense, and I know a lot of people have talked about Jefferson Simmons, is if they feel like the left tackle of the future, who they have a high first-round grade on, is falling to the back of the first round, and they think they're going to get the guy who is going to step in for Greg Robinson next year and hold down that spot for 10 years, that to me might be worth it. Anything else, I think I would be wary of, giving away next year's draft pick for a guy that is not Patrick Mahomes.
Do you think it's cost prohibitive? You think they'd have to give up a first round? Because they're not in the top half of the second round, so it'd be a significant move. Is it the cost that you think would be prohibitive to moving into the first round?
Well, I mean, it's just cost, yes, like you said. I mean, they can't trade next year's first rounder to move up in the back of the first round here. Listen, you got your first round pick already. His name's Odell Beckham. It's okay. There's not a guy in this draft that you'd rather have than Odell Beckham. So, this is not coming from a position of weakness that they have to be desperate to get a first rounder. They've made their bed, and it's a wonderfully comfortable bed. So it's all good. I mean, John Dorsey was gifted with a lot of draft assets a year ago, and he did a really good job with them. But this is, and this is a go-for-it window. But I don't think a go-for-it window means trade away, your 2020 and 2021 drafts, move up a couple spots here. I hope they don't go crazy on this, and I'm going to guess that they wind up not going crazy, and they end up picking where they are.
As you look at the defense, does the linebacking core, and last year they didn't tackle well, a lot of missed tackles, those concerns, or do you think that gets addressed? Are those things that are easily addressed, I guess?
Well, Jamie Collins is gone. He was part of the missed tackles. Joe Schobert's still here. I think that'll get better. I think part of that was what Greg Williams was asking these guys to do. Joe Schobert was hurt for part of the year. I don't think that's who he is. We know he's a great cover linebacker. I don't think he's a guy who's going to go out and miss tackles every game for the rest of his career. So I'm okay with the linebackers. I am not as concerned about that position group as some people are. If they wanted, I don't know that there are starters for them to draft here because their starters are pretty good. So if they want to draft a guy at linebacker they think could take over for Christian Kirksey next year, if they let Kirksey go after this year, for instance, like Austin Corbett for Kevin Zeitler, then I'm in on that. But I am not overly worried about they've got to get a linebacker, they've got to get a guy in the secondary who plays right now. Listen, John Dorsey said he hopes all 8 picks turn into starters, right? And that's just the thing you say, you want all good players. They better not turn into all starters because that means the starters here are underperforming. They're too good to get 8 starters out of this draft. So I think their roster is pretty good on the first level. They need to add depth. They need to add young guys who can step in down the line. But there's not a position where I'm saying, oh, man, they got to address this right now for this year.